Hello lovely people, and welcome to today's video. Starting off with a voiceover, but that's not going to be the entirety of today's video. I am going to be vlogging my experience on the Trans Rights Readathon week. It's basically celebrating trans, two-spirit, non-binary lives and stories up to the lead up of Trans Visibility Day on the 31st of March. So it started on Friday the 21st of March, finishes on the 31st of March, and there are some prompts, but I mean if I fit in some of the prompts, perfect, but I just had a couple of books that I talk about in my TBR about what I wanted to get through during this week of reading and celebrating and uplifting voices, whether that's with the authors themselves or the stories that they're sharing. I'm currently reading Melissa, which previously went by George by Alex Gino, and I am having the best time. It is about a little girl who is perceived to be a little boy and is denied the opportunity to play Charlotte in the school's play of Charlotte's Web. Despite that, she goes against all the odds and makes her debut as herself. Hi guys, and a proper hello, seeing as you haven't seen my face here yet. I've just finished Melissa by Alex Gino, and this was a 5 out of 5 stars for me. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I've just done a little walk around the park, finishing it off, also intending to listen to my audiobook version of Page Boy by Elliot Page, but it is getting dark now and I don't want to be out with my ears muffled in the night time because I feel like I'm not as aware. Anyway, that's besides the point. Melissa was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed this like pure trans joy that was found in this. Now don't get me wrong, it wasn't all rainbows and happiness. Melissa really came against some resistance with sharing who she really was, not necessarily in terms of direct transphobia at school, more I would say like akin to homophobia from some boys in her class that just said that she wasn't boy enough because Melissa is perceived to be a boy in her class and at home and just in her general life. She gets a lot of flack for not fitting that stereotype of being boyish and into boy things, but that's because she's not a boy and she has no interest in those things that they're taunting her and bullying her for. But also at a home level from her mum, she suffers a lot of resistance. One of the quotes were how her mum was saying, "It was cute when you were 3 dressing up in my clothes, but I don't want to find you doing it now that you're 10. I don't want to find you in my room at all." And reading that from the perspective of a little 10-year-old girl, it was heartbreaking. But in saying that, the ending of this and just the general vibe overall had this beautiful, overwhelming tone of just hope and happiness and joy and really finding your identity. She has a very supportive friend in Kelly, and there's a zoo trip in this that is just beautiful. Of course, the whole theme is centered around this play, and she wants to play Charlotte as the main character. And there's a lot of naysayers to that. She goes out and does it herself anyway, and it is just such a strong sense of identity in one so young, still trying to figure it out as well, but it is incredibly inspiring. And yeah, I absolutely adored this one. A great first book for me to have read for the Trans Rights Readathon. Someone's just come in here with their little dog on a little walk, so I think I might try maybe 1 or 2 laps around the park again, listening to Page Boy, and then I'll head home and have my shower and do my evening routine, get some dinner in me and chill out. I finished Page Boy by Elliot Page earlier today, and I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, which sounds weird, like rating a memoir, but the rating's more of a reflection of like how it was put together, writing, flow, that sort of thing, rather than the actual content and the person's experience, if that makes sense. I'd only really seen Elliot Page act in The Umbrella Academy, and I really enjoy that show. although I don't think I'm up to date with the latest season. But it was really interesting to see his experience in Hollywood, his upbringing and kind of home and parental life, his dating relationships, and just coming to terms with his identity, and being queer in general, and how that kind of had an impact on his mental health and his physical safety, and the connection as well with the sort of roles that he got when he was presenting as a lesbian female, right? So yeah, I thought it was really interesting, all the points that he was making. Quite a lot of horrible experiences he had gone through in his life in terms of relationships and things that you can't really call relationships because it's just fueled by abuse. But a lot of the time I was kind of shocked to see that there was, it's going to sound a bit strange, there wasn't a lot of reflection or conversation around the story he was telling that was fueled with trauma. And I'm not saying it in a way to be like, oh, he's got to relive the trauma that he's been through for our entertainment or enjoyment or anything like that. I just mean it read a lot of the time as if he was listing all the abuse time after time, rather than like, oh, this happened, and you know, that nobody seemed to be getting. I don't know, it infuriated me on his behalf and just for society, because nobody that treated him wrongly got any justice served to them, you know? So it literally read like a string of awful events that happened to him, and then yeah, on to the next. You know what I mean? It was horrible, and I feel like there was no kind of conversation, like greater conversation around that, from Elliot as well. But then again, that's his experience. He doesn't need to do that for our benefit. It was just something that I noticed whilst reading. Yeah, I enjoyed personally the kind of back and forth of the storytelling. He felt like he didn't necessarily know where he was wanting his memoir to go, his story that he was telling. But I personally enjoyed the flow of going back to his childhood and then going back to his recent years in the Umbrella Academy and learning about his identity, and then going back again to summers spent with his dad. I liked that flow. It didn't feel disjointed for me, but it was a little bit confusing when similar stories or similar events didn't seem to be grouped together. And that's what I mean when I say it felt like he didn't have like a particular direction of kind of how he wanted to tell his story, if that makes sense. It just felt kind of unfinished, and disconnected on a whole. But it was definitely a necessary, insightful and interesting read to learn a bit more about him. But yeah, so that is my thoughts on Elliot Page's Page Boy. I also yesterday went to my silent book club, which hadn't been on for a couple of months, but was back for the new year, and I started reading Alison Ruffitts, or I can't remember her last name, but Brainworms, and it is an extreme horror, body horror, lots of kink in there, lots of like degradation and like brainworms. I'm guessing. I've not got too far into it. Actually, I'm 75 pages into it at the minute, and it's not an awfully long book. I think I'm enjoying it. It's very Moorish to read, very readable, which is strange considering the context. The content, sorry, is not the most pleasant. But yeah, it's an interesting read. I don't really have a lot to say about that right now, so I will talk to you more about that when I do. Hello from the bathroom. I realise I haven't really done a little bit of an update yet, and I've only got a couple of days left of the Trans Rights Readathon. I did start last night I Wish You All The Best, which I ended up getting an audiobook for on Audible, which was fabulous. I ended up doing, I ended up spending £18 in buying 3 credits, which was cheaper than just buying 1 credit for £7.99. It worked out, it made sense. And then I also managed to get, because I bought 3 books straight away with those credits, another free one, because they were doing an offer where if you spend your 3 credits that you have, you get 1 back. It was annoying really, because I had like built up about 3 or 4 credits, because apparently I haven't been buying audiobooks. I've been using BorrowBox quite a lot recently, but yeah, for the last 4 months, and then all of a sudden that deal popped up and I was like, oh, for God's sake. But I did it. So I've got a couple of other books. Started Wish You All The Best last night, and I'm really enjoying it. Our main character has come out as non-binary to their parents, and it doesn't go down well at all. They are kicked out of the house and has to go and live with their estranged sister, who I don't think they've seen for like 10 years or so, trying to settle into life again, get back into school, a different school obviously, and kind of find their feet. They decide they don't want to come out at the new school, so there's a lot of confusion, conflict and anger within themselves, because they want to instantly correct and reaffirm their identity by saying, actually, I'm not a he pronoun, I'm not a she pronoun, I'm they. But they've already said to themselves, no, I kind of want to lay low at the moment and kind of go undercover and just ride out these last couple of years of high school. So yeah, so far I'm probably like maybe 10-15% of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it. I had actually popped it on a sleep timer last night, and I was raptly listening. I ended up listening like for another half hour or so, and I didn't go to bed till 11:30, which for me is late, especially when I've got work the next day. But yeah, absolutely adored that. I also ended up purchasing some trans science fiction and fantasy stories through this bundle that they were doing on itch.co. A load of authors were banding together and contributing towards this, and I think the funds goes towards helping indie authors within the LGBT plus sphere kind of work, live, and also offers readers discounted awesome books. So yeah, I bought a bundle of those. I want to say there's like 30 plus books in that bundle, so really excited. Definitely won't be getting to those within this vlog, but yeah, looking forward to diving into those. As for physical reads, I am currently reading still Brainworms, which I feel like I'm nearly done with. Still confused, enjoying, uncomfortable, lots of thoughts with this one. And I'm also reading my trans misadventure, Welcome to St. Hell, which I'm also really enjoying, and I'm nearly halfway through that one. So that is the update for now. So yeah, I'm gonna go hop in the bath and either listen to or read either of those books that I just spoke about. I realised I didn't actually tell you what this book was about because I started it on my lunch break earlier today, but we're following Lewis Hancox, who is I think it's an Instagrammer, like a social media person. I hadn't actually realised who he was, but my partner did apparently, and was like, hey, I follow him, or I've seen some of his skits or something like that. Anyway, this is his experience growing up. He was presenting as female at school but never really felt that way. It's basically a story figuring out who he is, his identity, and realising he's trans. So this is what I was reading during lunchtime, on the way home, and yeah, now this evening, so looking forward to continuing on. New hair, who dis? Anyway, I've been listening to Wish You All The Best for pretty much all day whilst I've been doing my hair and all that shenanigans. Anyway, I have just got to the point where a character actually says, I wish you all the best, and I was wondering how they were gonna say it without it sounding like a dismissal or a goodbye, because that's what I Wish You All the Best sounds like, right? It's like the end of something, but it was so beautiful, and it was a fleeting moment, but it lingered, and it was like, oh, roll credits. It was just so genuinely sweet. My heart. Oh, my heart. This is such a beautiful story. I am thoroughly enjoying it. I've got today and tomorrow, which is the last day, and of course Trans Visibility Day for this trans rights readathon, so hopefully I can get this one finished, and I'm quite close to the end of Brain Worms, so fingers crossed I can get some physical reading done at some point between now and then as well. I know I look like an alien with this hairstyle. It's kind of cute. I've just finished I Wish You All the Best, and oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna cry. This was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I almost feel like how I did when I read Casey McQuiston's One Last Stop. I had similar overwhelming feelings of just pure joy after completing it, and yeah, this was similar in that way. I loved the found family aspect. I absolutely adored that. I loved the rekindling of a sibling relationship as well. Oh, I thought, oh my god, lovely Nathan was just such an adorable, like, golden retriever coded guy who was just understanding from the get-go and full of care and like genuine eagerness to help encourage Ben to settle into their new school and just feel welcomed. And I absolutely loved that about Nathan. I adored how that relationship developed into more romantic line, and everything about it was absolutely phenomenal. I feel like obviously we had the start of it being quite traumatizing and hard going for Ben, finally feeling vulnerable and comfortable enough in coming out as non-binary to their parents, to then be rejected so savagely, you know, and find themselves in a situation really of like, where do I go? I don't know what to do. And I really felt for them. I just, seeing that and then how they were at the end was just so beautiful, and how they gave vulnerability another go. Oh, I loved it. I absolutely adored it. An easy 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know why it took me so long to read this. I thought it was going to be like really, really sad for some reason. Like I was expecting some sort of death, but oh, it was beautiful. Such a worthy read, and it just filled me with absolute joy and hope and just beauty. I loved the ending that we got. Definitely recommend this one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep very well after just finishing, let me grab it, it's right next to me, Brain Worms. This was so gross, so thought-provoking, confusing at times when it was more experimental, but whoa, I will definitely be thinking about this for a long time. I feel kind of sick right now, like my stomach is curdling a bit, and I'm left like aghast and just a little bit stupefied, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm gonna do a full review on this, because I did sit down and I'm like writing, I don't know how I'm gonna review this, but then I've just done a big tangent of all the thoughts and feelings that I felt, and I think it makes sense and it flows all right. So I am definitely at some point gonna sit down and film that video and just discuss everything I want to discuss about this book, because it was an experience, and I think it was definitely, from what I can remember, I guess, one of my first proper forays into the more extreme side of like body horror. And wow, what a story to begin with. This was incredible. I'm 5 stars. It's, yeah, I don't know how to feel. Please let me know if you've read this. Full review, video review coming at some point soon to a YouTube computer near you. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm tired. Good night. Good evening, everyone. I'm here to wrap up my reading vlog. I have finished my trans misadventure and I really enjoyed it. I gave that one a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved how hopeful it was, and you get so many stories which don't end up with a happy ending and end with, you know, a loss of life, a serious threat to life, which is so often the case with particularly trans youth with no resources or support from family and friends. So what I loved from Lewis's story was it was one of the happier ones, and it just felt like a young person going through a similar sense of identity, a sense of loss, not knowing what's happening within their body, can read that, see his story and be like, oh my God, there is hope. I'm not strange. I'm not weird. There's others out there that have been through something similar. So yeah, I thought that was a beautiful, fantastic, light-hearted in the way that Lewis's humour shone through, and I feel like he felt light-hearted and easygoing in the way it was written, and adding to that, of course, the comic book style, how everything was drawn out was also, you know, beneficial in that way, and also visually stimulating for me. But yeah, I had a great time reading that and I thought it was fantastic. But yes, I think I'm actually going to go to bed now. I'm actually going to start, I won't be finishing this for sure because I need to go to sleep in a minute, Homebody by Theo Parrish. This I will probably talk about in my, well, it'll probably be April's wrap up, because as I say, it's the last day of March. There's no way I'm going to finish this. I could if I was staying up for a long time, because it's also a graphic novel, but I've got work tomorrow and I'm already tired, so I just want to get a couple of pages into this. But yeah, other than that, that wraps up this video. I've had a great time diversifying my reads even further, finding some new authors that I would love to go back to their back catalogue and go through some of the earlier stuff and just explore other genres, really. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading some of the books that I purchased in the science fiction fantasy bundle that was on a deal a couple of days ago, and of course reading the books that I didn't manage to get to, or that I'm in the middle of and haven't finished in time yet. But of course I will talk about all of those in later wrap-ups and later reviews. There's a couple in this particular vlog that I want to do dedicated reviews for, so definitely keep your eyes peeled for that. Thank you for joining me on this reading vlog. I hope you've had a great time. I hope you found some awesome authors to continue supporting. And yeah, I wish you a good night. Take care. Bye.